Your dog's gonna hate your robot mower. It's almost guaranteed. So, yeah, be prepared to put your dog away or train her to just deal with the robot mower. Mira, you've seen this thing before. It's not out to get you. Just leave it alone. So if you've been thinking on getting yourself a robot mower, there's a few things you should know before you take the plunge. And if you've already bought a robot mower, I guess you could still watch this and see the plunge you shouldn't have taken before watching this video. I don't know. Let's talk about stuff you should know before getting a robot mower. Now, these robot mowers are awesome, but the first thing you should know about them is they're almost categorically guaranteed to wreck something. And there's a reason for that. See, what you have to do is you got to guide these things around your lawn, show them where they're supposed to mow and where not to mow. And invariably, you're going to do something like putting in a new garden bed. And you won't tell the mower about it because you haven't been thinking about it because the thing just is working without you interacting with it. And it's going to run through that new garden bed. Or you're going to leave a hose laying out in the lawn really buried in the grass and maybe it just won't see it and it'll run over that hose. So invariably, robot mower is going to wreck something. And honestly, it's not the mower's fault. It's kind of mine. Something I learned really fast about robot mowers is that they all have little, I guess you could call them quirks. So some will struggle with dips and holes. Others have very active obstacle avoidance. Others are less picky about trying to plow through stuff, which can get them into trouble. And then some just have software that you need to get a little creative with to map out your property the way that you want it to work. So it's just going to take some time to dial in the settings on your robot mower. Some of them don't have many settings, but stuff like this Luba 3 all-wheel drive from Mammotion, this has a ton of settings. You can really get granular on exactly how you want this thing to mow. So as you fiddle around and kind of get things dialed in over the course of a couple weeks or a couple months, this mower will start behaving exactly as you want it to behave when you want it to behave that way. Now, you're going to have to help it though. You're a manager. So you might have some holes in your lawn that the mower just can't navigate. You're going to learn that over the course of the first couple weeks with your mower. You're going to go fill those holes in, or maybe you have to move a branch out of the way every now and then. So some of the quirks have to do with your landscape, some of them have to do with the mowers, but the mowers are all a little unique, and you're going to have to kind of learn the ins and outs of them for a little while in order to get them doing what you need them to do. Now, something that kind of surprises a lot of people with robot mowers is that they basically need to mow every day. And that is because of how they're designed. Let me show you. So most robot mowers use these little razor blades to mow the lawn. They're not big lawnmower blades like you're used to seeing on a lawnmower. Now, your lawn is going to look gorgeous after a while because these little blades are cutting off little pieces of grass and mulching them up super fine and putting those nutrients back in the lawn. Your lawn will never look better. You're not going to have to go out and bag. You're not going to have to go out and rake. You're not going to have to sweep your lawn. Nothing. It's going to look like $1,000,000. But they need to mow every day. Maybe every other day, every third day at most. Otherwise, the grass will get too long for them to effectively micro-mulch, and it can get too long for them to be even able to get through them at all. Most of them have safety bumpers on them. If they bump into stuff like really tall, heavy grass, they're not going to try to go through it. Now, there are some rare mowers, like this Lymow One, that actually use lawnmower blades. This is pretty unique. But most mowers do not have lawnmower blades like this. This is made for a little bit more severe service. Most of them are just going to run these micro-mulching razor blades, and believe me, it looks great micro-mulching with those things, but they've got to be able to mow often. Now, the problem you might have with this micro-mulching or daily mulching schedule is, let's say you have a daycare or something at your house. You got babies crawling around in the front yard. You don't want the mower out there bumping into babies, do you? Okay, well, find one that has scheduling so you can change the schedule around what's convenient for you in your life. Find a mower that can run at night and just really pay attention to how big of an area you're asking it to mow, because these mowers are smaller than your normal mower. They're slower. They take time to do that mowing. A mower might tell you it's rated to mow an acre. Well, is that an acre per day, per week, per month, per year? How long does it take to mow that acre? It's very important to know. Some mowers will let you map out gigantic areas that they never have any hope of successfully mowing in its lifetime. Now, I'm not going to say that these mower companies aren't honest about how big of an area the mowers can mow, but they're certainly getting as much truth out of them as possible, if that makes sense. Like, all these mowers have different speeds they can mow at. Some of them have different blade speeds they can mow at. Some of them have different widths of a path they can mow. And changing those settings changes how big of an area they can mow. And all of them are limited by battery size and charge cycle times, which limits how much they can mow in one day. So now, if you've got a perfectly square, flat lawn with no obstructions, nothing to mow around, maybe you can juice every inch out of these mowers. But for most of us, buy a mower with more capacity than you need. Maybe 25% more, maybe 20% more, maybe 10% more, but just give yourself a little bit of a cushion. While you're shopping for a robot mower, you're going to find that there are two main kinds of navigation systems for the mowers, RTK and LiDAR. RTK can be a little bit more effort to set up. Oftentimes, an RTK system has an external antenna that you have to have out on your property somewhere. You need a clear view of the sky for an RTK system, but it can be a little less expensive and a more precise system than LiDAR. See, LiDAR has everything internal, and it does 3D mapping of your property, but it's a little more memory intense and a little more battery intense. So in many cases, the LiDAR systems aren't able to cover as large of an area as an RTK mower can. So without getting too far into the weeds, because I am going to do another video comparing the systems, LiDAR is great for lawns that are smaller with high obstruction levels, like a lot of stuff overhead, like trees. Whereas RTK models are a lot better for very large, open properties, but maybe wanting very precise location data and precise pathing, so we're not running over things like garden beds. Now, these mowers don't love to mow in the rain. Most of them have rain sensors on them, and they're supposed to put themselves back in the dock when it's raining. Why is that? Well, first of all, if you're mowing wet grass, these mowers can really get packed up with mushy, wet grass and mud and stuff that packs them full, and then they just can't mow anymore. Another thing that can happen is the grass just looks like garbage when it's mowing in the rain. So most of these will turn themselves off when it's raining and put themselves back on their charging dock. So if you get weather like we do here, where it rains a lot and then it's sunny for like one day like it is, you might find your grass is getting a little long. Case in point, the grass has grown despite it raining. The mower hasn't come out and mowed it, and I don't know if it's going to be able to mow over this anymore because it has gotten so tall. So you might just want to have a backup mower just in case, especially if you're living in a rainy climate. They don't like mowing in the rain. Now, another big thing you have to know about having a robot mower is you probably need Wi-Fi on your property, and if not Wi-Fi, a 4G signal, kind of like a cell phone. So if you live in an area where you don't get cell phone service, you might have to have Wi-Fi on your property. Why is that? The mowers communicate with your phone so you can control them through Wi-Fi or 4G. Often they also use that Wi-Fi or 4G signal to help position themselves. So you either need to set up Wi-Fi that covers your property, which is totally doable, I've done it here, or make sure that you have proper 4G service in your area in order to let that mower keep working. So there's going to come a time where you need to go on a hunt for your mower and rescue it. Because sometimes these mowers can just plain get stuck and you're their only hope for rescue. Now you have to be able to lift that mower sometimes and carry it back to its charging station, because if it gets stuck or lost or in a hole or something when you're at work and you come back, it might be out of batteries and you got to carry it back to the charging station. So if you've got a really heavy mower that you're not able to lift, that might be a problem. So case in point, this little Best Mow, pretty light, easy to move. It's got a handle on the back. Oh. This Mammotion Luba 3 all-wheel drive, handles on the side, quite a bit heavier to lift. You got to be a real man to pick this thing up. This Lymow One, this thing's a Hulk, man. This weighs about 80 pounds. It takes some effort to lift it. I have had this thing out in the field, unable to move, and I had to carry it all the way back to the charger. I had to go get the wheelbarrow. Thanks, by the way, for clicking on this video. I really do appreciate it. What I usually do on this channel is videos about small tractors, lawnmowers, robot mowers, tools, outdoor power equipment, basically stuff you might use to maintain a property and do it yourself. So if that's the kind of thing you're into, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I've got lots more stuff coming up.